would like to thank all the journalists and all the editors that have joined today press conference from Promaplast, GreenPlast, and AMI Applied Market Information. For those who do not know me, I am Mario Maggiani. I am the CEO of Promaplast, the company organizing the exhibition Plast and GreenPlast, and I'm also the managing director of Amaplast, the Italian Association of Plastic and Rubber Processing Machinery and Molds Manufacturers. Obviously, today I'm here with the head of Promaplast, the organizer of GreenPlast exhibition. Together with me, Andrew Beavers, Director Event and Magazine, and Lizzie Carroll from Applied Market Information. So, which is the aim of today press conference? I mean, it's just to give you some information, updated information on GreenPlast exhibition, and obviously to inform you concerning the cooperation we have among GreenPlast and Applied Market Information. Before going into details of the cooperation, I would like just to remind you a few information concerning GreenPlast. I'm going to share my screen. Obviously, the presentation will be available. Okay, here we go for all of you. First of all, some numbers, some information concerning GreenPlast. GreenPlast next year will take place from the 27th to the 30th of May in the Milan Fairground, located in Ropero, close to Milan. GreenPlast is the second edition. The first one was taking place 2 years ago, so in 2022, again in the month of May. As I already explained you, the organizer of the exhibition is Promaplast, that is the commercial company, the service company of Amaplast, the Italian Association of Plastic and Rubber Processing Machinery and Molds Manufacturers. So what is GreenPlast? I hope all of you know. It's an exhibition, but not only an exhibition, also a conference. It's, let me say, not a new model of exhibition, but what we decided to do was to combine the exhibition with some specific characteristic with a well-organized conference. I'm saying exhibition with some specific characteristic because, first of all, I would like to focus your attention on the price of GreenPlast. It's, let me say, a quite cheap exhibition compared to the most important exhibition in the plastic machinery sectors all over the world, because we have a cost of the raw space of 185 euro per square meters, and we have a pre-fitted stand at the cost of 80 euro per square meters. It means that totally you pay for a fitted stand roughly not roughly, but exactly 265 euro per square meters. It is important to underline, and this was a specific decision, that the booth until 64 square meter size are obliged to use the pre-fitted stand. Why? because the idea again is not to have the usual exhibition, but something different in which more or less all the booths are one equal, one similar to the other, and only for larger booths, the one more than 64 square meters, it will be possible to personalize the stand. Again, because the aim is to have not a large booth, but to have simply booths similar. Because why? Because we want to have to focus the attention of the people, yes, on the booth, yes, on the company exhibiting, but also at the focus their attention on the conference. And again, we will go later into details explaining a little bit what we will do. Now, sometimes I receive questions concerning, but wow, GreenPlast, if you already have an exhibition like Plast, they seems to be similar. And obviously, I confirm you, they are similar, but the approach is completely different from a certain point of view. I mean, GreenPlast is an exhibition focusing on the environment. And when I say environment, I'm not only speaking of recycling, both mechanical or chemical recycling, but I'm speaking also of energy saving. For example, I'm speaking of new materials, new application with recycled materials, and so on. So the approach is completely different. If you let me say something, during the COVID period, I remember the owner of some companies were telling me, you see how we have a large use of plastic today during the COVID period due to the fact that if you want to protect food, pharmaceutical application, etc., plastic is the best solution. And I was used to say, guys, I'm sure the question of the environment will be back as soon as the COVID emergency will finish. And that's what it happened. We cannot think to our future without thinking to the environment. We see what is happening in Italy, but I would say in Europe, all over the world, storming, sea pollution and so on. And I mean, it's a long story, and then I do not want to go into details, but for sure, this is something on which the environment, I mean, all of us, we have to take care, and I would say to take carefully care. That's the reason of GreenPlast. Just a few numbers concerning GreenPlast. Just few number concerning GreenPlast. In the last edition 2022, we were having about 170 exhibitors, altogether exhibitors, co-exhibitor, etc. Overall, 20,000 visitors from 55 countries. Obviously, the majority were coming from Italy and 20% from abroad. The exhibition was covering a really small surface compared to Plast, so 60,000 square meters. But again, because the philosophy of GreenPlast was and is completely different from the one of Plast. We are not interested in large spaces. We are interested in well-known and reputed exhibitors, even in small booths, but representing how they can contribute to the environments. So going ahead, okay, this is the origin of the overseas visitors. Obviously, they are coming in the majority of cases from Europe and from the neighborhood country like Germany, Switzerland, France, Spain, and obviously Turkey, that is really a fast-growing market, as all of you know. Another important thing, GreenPlast is taking place together with three other important exhibitions that are IPACIMA, the packaging exhibition, Print for All, printing and converting exhibition, and Intralogistica, who is the exhibition devoted to the logistic. I have to underline the importance of the supply chain, because here we have three sectors that are really near to the one we represent as GreenPlast. You know better than me that more than 50%, it depends from country to country, but roughly 50% of the plastic is used in the packaging sector. The printing sector once were focusing on newspaper, magazine, etc., and together today with the digital printing, there is a quite high percentage of printing machinery manufacturers working in the plastic sector, printing on film, printing on bottles, containers, and so on. So you will have the chance visiting GreenPlast also to visit the other exhibition. Also because there are free movement. I mean, with one ticket entrance, you can visit all the four exhibition. We are speaking of 11 exhibition halls, more than 90,000 attendees coming from, this is expected, 125 countries. So this is really, in brief, the number of the Innovation Alliance. Let me say, to keep the Innovation Alliance alive, we decided to organize GreenPlast, even if we perfectly know that it's taking place in the same year of K Show. That even if it is not anymore the first plastic and machinery exhibition all over the world, because today, according to the last number, is China plus, nevertheless, in euros, but I would say worldwide, it's probably the most well-known exhibition in the plastic and machinery sectors. But the idea, even if it's the year of K, the idea was to keep GreenPlast together with the other exhibition of the Innovation Alliance. I go quite quick. This is mainly what we have already said. The strategic partner with Applied Market Information was simply, again, to empower the side devoted to the conference. And so we decided to cooperate together and to organize a conference. The name is Shaping a Sustainable Future for Plastic. It will not be a conference of one day, but it will be a conference taking place for all the 4 days of the exhibition, starting from the afternoon of the first day of Tuesday, 16 of June, and ending on the morning of Friday, 19 June. So a quite long, deep, and detail program. So before leaving the floor to the friends of AMI because I would like to prevent some future question concerning how is going the plastic machinery sectors because this is something obviously that will influence also GreenPlast and all the exhibition of next year. So in few slides, I try to give you a really general overview. Last year, 2023, was the best year ever, and the Italian plastic and rubber machinery manufacturers reached a total turnover of close to 4.8 billion euro. So again, the best result ever, with an increase of the total turnover close to 10%. Obviously, our export, the export of the Italian machinery, is roughly 3/4 of the total production. So it's a sector really focus oriented, but it's not only on plastic machinery. It's the same also in all the other machinery sectors. I'm thinking to packaging, to ceramic, woodworking machinery, textile, and so on. Obviously, the extrusion sector is the most important one in terms of percentage on the total turnover. Followed by injection molding, and obviously, even if these are not machinery as we use the word machines, the other sectors really important is ancillary or auxiliary machinery. The application, again, packaging, automotive, all the different sectors. Here I skip. I would like just to say something concerning 2024. So this year, according to the last statistic, in terms of export, we are still growing. Nevertheless, I have to say that I expect a downturn, a reduction of the total turnover for 2024. So the increases of export is still mainly due to the orders that the machinery manufacturers were collecting last year, at the end of last year. But the reality is that the order of plastic machinery this year are decreasing compared to the previous one. So that's the reason why we expect a downturn of the total turnover. In which percentage, difficult to say. Personally, I think it will be between -5 and -10% roughly. I was speaking last week with the German colleagues, and they were expecting a -10%. Obviously, with huge differences in function of the destination sectors of the technology. If you are speaking of technology involved, used in the automotive industry, it will not be -10. It will be probably -30, -40%. This is just to give you an idea. If you are speaking about packaging, probably it's much more on -5, -10%. So what I'm saying, -10, is just an average. Next year, 2025, hard to say, really, it is hard to say. I do not expect significant changes in the first months of next year. Whereas I would like to be a little bit more optimistic on the second half of the year. So being optimistic, I hope in 2025 we will reach a small growth of a couple of points compared to 2024. I already talk too much, but I think it was important to speak about GreenPlus to give you a general idea of the trend in the machinery sectors. And obviously, now I would like to leave the floor to our friends of applied market information in order to go more into details on our 4 days conference on occasion of GreenPlast. So thank you very much, Andy. I let you present our conference.
Okay, great. Thanks so much indeed, Mario, and hello everybody. Thank you for joining us today. As Mario explained, my name is Andy Beavers. I'm the events director at AMI. We're really delighted to be collaborating with Promoplast to create and host the conference sessions for GreenPlast 2025. This will build on the considerable success of the launch event in 2022 and will address new and pressing challenges within the plastics industry. Just to give you a bit of background on AMI, for those of you who don't know us, we have more than 35 years experience of organising conferences for the international plastics industry. And we also provide market intelligence and consulting services for this particular sector. We have a very strong focus on sustainability issues and recycling technologies, with numerous studies and events for this fast-growing area. So we're particularly pleased to be working with Promoplast to add a valuable conference programme to GreenPlast 2025 that will showcase pioneering ideas and discuss pressing challenges in sustainability. Together, we aim to attract an influential audience of industry leaders, innovators, policymakers, and environmental advocates. Global nature of the plastics industry and the current uncertainty surrounding evolving regulations will make GreenPlast a timely and essential meeting place for the international industry. And with Europe leading the way in sustainable practices, the conference will serve as a platform for international collaboration, enabling stakeholders to exchange ideas and drive meaningful change across borders. Together, AMI and Promoplast have curated sessions covering the most significant innovations, regulations, and the best practices in a range of relevant areas. These include plastics waste management, materials recycling, energy efficiency, plastic sustainability, and bioplastics. And I'll quickly run through an outline of what will be covered during the 4-day event. So on day 1, the conference will open with a dedicated sessions on sustainability strategies, featuring speakers from various sectors, including brand owners, packaging producers, polymer producers, and leading recyclers. European plastic waste regulations will be discussed by leading experts from companies including Lavazza and Grupo Happy, as well as the Association of European Plastics Converters. There will then be a workshop on European plastics waste regulations delivered by leading international law firm Keller and Heckman. On day 2, we will shift our focus to sourcing plastic waste, opening with a presentation by AMI on evolving plastics markets in Europe. This day will bring insights from prominent waste management firms and will help companies to solve their challenges of sourcing sustainable materials whilst minimising their environmental impact. The packed programme on the second day also includes a technology showcase on the crucial issue of the automated sorting of plastic waste. Participating companies include Nextech, Nextloop, and Cotoclean. Later, there will be a focus on the key principles in designing for recycling, featuring a training seminar and a panel with iconic brands. The third day of the event will map out the future for mechanical recycling, opening with the outlook for plastics recycling presented by AMI. This day will also feature a dedicated session on closing the recycling loop, Key speakers for this include Antonio Protopapa, Operations Director of Corapla, and Bernardo Greenham, CEO of Zero Plastics Recycling. Later, there'll be a technology showcase focused on upcycling, including case studies presented by Cermax. Okay, so the fourth and final day, the focus is going to shift to chemical recycling and the critical role that it can play in transforming plastic waste into valuable resources. Presentations will examine pivotal advances in recycling technologies and sustainability projects focused on packaging reuse. Attendees will also hear from some of the world's top polymer producers, including LyondellBasell and Trinseo, who are pioneering research and development in sustainable polymers. Their involvement reinforces the conference's aim to bridge knowledge gaps and provide practical solutions for a circular plastics economy. I'll now hand over to my colleague, Elizabeth Carroll, who's going to give you an overview of plastics recycling trends.
Thank you, Andy. Hopefully,
sorry, Elizabeth, if I'm interrupting you. Just one thing for your information. I mean, it is not yet confirmed, but I'm in discussion with Assorimap, that is the Italian Association of Plastic Recycler, to organize the presentation of their annual report inside our conference. So it's not yet official, but we are in discussion, and I think it's important because we will have some information completing the overall imagine of the recycling in Italy. Sorry, Elizabeth, for interrupting you.
Oh, no problem at all. Hopefully you can all see my screen. As Andy said, my name is Elizabeth Carroll. I'm a consultant at AMI focused on plastics recycling and sustainability. I've been asked to give a very brief overview of the plastics recycling industry in Europe. So, regulations are driving changes in plastics recycling infrastructure in the EU. Here is a summary of the current EU targets. These are based on the Waste Framework Directive and Packaging Waste Directive. Individual member states can set higher national targets, but each member state needs to reach the targets individually. There is no application of an EU average. It is worth noting that chemically recycled plastics at the time of writing do not count towards these recycling targets. They rely solely on mechanical recycling. Early warning reports were sent to member states last year relating to the top 3 2025 goals, as you can see on the screen. As it was found, only 9 out of 27 member states were on track to meet these targets. In July this year, the EU Commission also sent formal letters of infringement proceedings to all member states, as they had missed at least one of the targets from the Waste Framework Directive, PPWD, or the WE Directive. Like this, targets are about to get more ambitious. I'm sure you have all heard of the upcoming legislation, the Packaging and Packaging Waste Regulation, or PPWR. PPWR aims to create binding and uniform packaging rules to cover the whole packaging lifecycle, not just for plastics. It was voted through the European Parliament in April and is expected to get final approval either before the end of the year or in the early new year. These are more specific targets than before that include more PCR recycled content targets in each unit of packaging. There is also the possibility of penalties or bans for non-compliance. Delegated acts are expected to define terms such as at scale and for recycled content calculations. This is just a summary of part of what is included in PPWR, which is far-reaching and covers things such as packaging minimalisation, deposit return schemes, and labelling requirements. So looking at mechanical recycling capacity, you can see from the chart that in 2010, a mechanical recycling capacity in Europe was around 5 million tonnes. Increased quite considerably to 2020, where it was around 9 million tonnes. Now, by 2030, we're anticipating the capacity reaching between 14 and 15 million tons. Now, we're going to have to get to this level of capacity to reach PPWR targets. So it's really imperative as an industry that the industry carry on growing and we find a way to make the industry financially viable. Commodity polymers recycling rate. The dark blue bar indicates the plastics entering the waste stream in Europe, and the light blue is the recyclate produced within Europe. In 2021, the recycling rate was around 15%. In 2025, we're anticipating it reaching about between 16 and 17%, and by 2030, around 19%. Now you can see that the volume of waste entering the waste stream is still set to continue. However, recyclate production is increasing faster. So we are seeing an increase in the recycling rate. It should be noted that these volumes are for post-consumer recyclate and for post-industrial recyclate. If you take post-consumer recyclate independently, the recycling rate would be far lower. So I think it's important to say that the recycling industry is a complex and dynamic segment, and it's events such as GreenPlast that can bring the industry together to discuss and to learn and to network, and it's these events that will really drive the industry forward and help it succeed. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for your contribution, for your speech. I think you're perfectly right. The idea is exactly to find in GreenPlast a place where you can listen to, you can see, you can understand how the world of the environment is moving concerning the plastic, but not only. So from our side, I mean, I hope we were able to give you a good overview on GreenPlast and mainly on our conference. Obviously, if you have any question, we are here fully available to answer.
I have one, Mario. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you listen me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. The first question is, in which language do you think the conference will be on?
Yes, you are right.
The second question is, when do you plan to have the final program of the conference?
Okay.
And the third is the general program. I hope you send us by mail when
obviously
the program the Beavers has told us. Okay, thanks.
Obviously. So concerning your first question, it's quite easy. The conference will take place in English language, but we will organize a simultaneous translation for who needs to have a translation. This is the first question. The second question I already forgot. So Carlo.
When will the program be ready? So
The second and the third. Yes, they are together. Yes. No, we are going to finalize in few weeks the complete program. So we have already well identified the topics will be on the program. We have already, as Andy was mentioning, received some confirmation concerning the speakers like La Gavazza, Gruppo Happy, and so on. But we are still waiting for more confirmation. So obviously we will send you via email the full program. I would say just leaving us a little bit of space beginning of next year, January.
I have one question. Can you send us the presentations afterwards? That would be fine.
Yes, absolutely.
Me too have a question.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Mario. Hi, Andy. Well, you were talking about sustainability. So in this context of growing focus about sustainability, how do you see the future of plastic recycling in the long term? Do you believe that the plastic market can achieve a true circular economy, or are we still far from this goal, Mario? Or Andy, if you wish.
Yes, that's a good question. No, personally, I think that we are obliged. I mean, I do not see alternative solution. We have to. Anyway, if we just consider Italy, but generally speaking, Europe, we have improved in a significant way the situation. Then not everything is so easy. There are still differences among, for example, the way of collecting plastics, used plastics, and so on. But circular economy, it's a must, and I would say not only in plastic, it's a must in all the packaging sectors. And I would like to add something more. Not only in packaging, because we see in automotive, we see in electronics, we see in buildings. So sometimes I go back to some movies I saw at China, I've seen at the cinema, in which, in the next future, there were people collecting all the spare parts and reselling this. So again, I do not see such a kind of future, but anyway, the trend is to reuse. I was just reading an article, for example, on the reuse of the parts of the old mobile phone. You could reduce the pollution just reusing the old components, reassembling, and so on. But I don't know, Andy, which is your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the pressures are there, as Elizabeth highlighted in her presentation, the regulatory pressures to increase recycling rates, also more general regulations on moving towards net zero. This is an issue that the plastics industry has to deal with. It has to accelerate the growth of recycling, whether it's through mechanical recycling, chemical recycling, which we'll be covering at the conference as well. Obviously, the more you do of it, the more difficult it becomes, because you recycle the easiest things first, but there are huge challenges like automated sorting, which again we'll be covering at the conference, just to make recycling more efficient. Upcycling, again, another topic we'll be covering at the conference to increase the value of recycled plastics. You can't just keep on recycling plastics and putting them into lower value applications. So you've got to work on that side of things. So yeah, it's something the industry hasn't got any choice. It's got to deliver increasing recycling rates. I don't know whether Elizabeth's got anything to add to that, but it's definitely a pressing issue.
I agree. I think the issue is making it financially viable and financially attractive to get new people into it. I think the general desire for sustainability is there. I think over the last couple of years, we've seen real issues where the system just hasn't been financially viable. And until we get to the point when recycled content is mandated, brand owners can switch back, which they have done, to using virgin resin because it's been cheaper. So I think the regulations, especially in regard to, packaging, as I said, and also, we're seeing a potential changes to the end of life vehicle Act, etc., that will include recycled content legislation. I think these will help drive the industry. But the fact is, the people operating within the industry are still companies. The majority of them are independent companies working for a financial benefit. So we've got to make sure the system is financially viable for everyone involved, from the waste collectors all the way through to the people utilizing the recycler. It needs to be financially viable, and I think that's the a real key issue, which is currently curtailing improvements and developments.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mario, we also have a written question from Javier Gomez, Mundoplast. The AMIS conferences are for free, included on the ticket price of the show?
Yes, that's another good question. Yes, obviously it's free. It's free. We will only ask to register, but participation will be 100% free.
And it will also be on the exhibition floor, so we're not taking people away to another room. So it's very much an integrated part of the exhibition.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you, Andy.
And good afternoon. This is Luca May from MacPlus. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I have a couple of questions. The first one is, how is the sale of exhibition spaces processing? And are there any particular well-represented sectors or noteworthy developments compared to the previous edition of the GreenPlast? And the second one is GreenPlast positions itself as a trade show and conference, a format that combines exhibition and in-depth discussions. What key topics will be addressed during the conference, and how can this session support industry players in tackling the challenges of recycling and sustainability?
Okay, I was waiting for the question in particular for the first one. No, we are quite satisfied according to the sales, because considering the number of exhibitors, we are exactly at the same result of 3 years ago, so of November 2021. And I think that considering the overall general economical situation, it is really a quite result. Obviously, I have to be honest, we are facing some problem with a specific sector, that is the one of injection molding machine, where the crisis, for the reason I already explained before, it is much more stronger than in packaging or other sectors application. So what does it mean? It means that certain company have reduced the space, the total amount of space booked. But again, if we consider the number of exhibitors, I'm really satisfied. It's a good result. Also considering that, in 2022, anyway, it was the first year after the COVID, after we were exiting from the pandemic, and really there was a lot of interest, and I would say everyone would like to go outside to meet, etc. So that was a big wave we were able to surf as organizer. Now we are in a completely situation, so we are quite happy. Concerning the topic of the conference, I think Andy already have given you a general overview. So what we tried to do, but Andy can reply better than me, was to give really a complete scenario of what is the environment. But Andy, maybe you can be more precise than me.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the 4 days of the conference, we can cover a lot of ground. We're aiming to cover a lot of the strategic issues around sustainability, certainly on that first day. We're also planning to look at the regulatory situation, which is clearly very important here. We're looking at everything from design for recycling. Clearly, Italy's leading country for product design, and that can play a really important role in increasing recycling rates. So that's something we aim to address. We'll be looking at things like automated sorting, which, as I said, is a really crucial step towards increasing recycling rates and improving the quality of recyclers. We'll also be looking at that in more general terms, upcycling, and how that can play a very important role in adding value to reclaimed materials. We're going to be providing analysis of industry trends with the presentations from AMI, given by Elizabeth's colleague, Martina Fong, who's another part of our consulting team. She's going to be providing insights into what's happening with demand trends and recycling trends across Europe. And then, as Mario said, we're also planning to have some really detailed information on what's going on within the Italian recycling market from the National Association. We'll be looking in detail at what's happening within mechanical and chemical recycling from a technical perspective, and covering the latest developments there. We're going to be having case studies as well. So, really comprehensive 4-day program, promoting that dialogue, promoting collaboration, and hopefully, helping the industry get towards those targets that we've been talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay. If we don't have other questions, I would like to thank all of you for your attention. Obviously, any information you may need from our side, please feel free to contact me, to contact Andy and AMI, and we will be more than happy to reply. Thank you again to everyone, and obviously see you at GreenPlast next year.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.